Welcome everyone, Dylan Gemelli here today with a brand new video for you. So today we are going to talk about ephedrine. But before we get into that, I have to reiterate that I'm not a doctor, so anything I say in this video is for your entertainment purposes only. What you do with this information is completely and utterly up to you, and I am not advising nor condoning you to use any of the things that we discuss in any way, shape, or form. So let's get into ephedrine. Now, many of you know ephedrine is a stimulant, but if you're new to this, you may not know. Now, whereas clenbuterol is a selective beta-2 agonist, ephedrine is actually both an alpha and beta agonist. So that's just scientific terms. I know that doesn't mean anything to some of you, but to some of you it does. Now, ephedrine does have a lot of different medical uses, and it's been used and often abused by athletes at all levels. I don't really know if you guys remember Tiki Barber. He's a former NFL running back on the New York Giants. Pretty good. Had a brother, Rondé Barber, on Tampa Bay Buccaneers, cornerback. He estimated that before it was banned from pro football, that it was used by like 80% of the NFL athletes. Now, that's a player talking. I don't have any facts on that, but I'm just letting you know that that's what was said by a player in the NFL, just to give you an idea of the popularity or widespread use. So let's just talk about a little bit of history here, more like ancient history, and then we'll get into a little modern history. In its natural form, all right, ephedrine has actually been documented in traditional Chinese medicine since 200 AD. So we're talking serious length of time here. Now, in China, it's called ma huang. Now, some of the first studies about it were done in the 1800s in Japan. So let's get a little bit more modern here. So in the modern era, ephedrine was first marketed by a pharmaceutical company that was called Merck. Merck's been involved in a lot of different things. I've covered that in a lot of different, instructional videos. So in the 1920s, Merck started to manufacture the drug in China, and then they exported it to Western countries. Now, the sales were so successful that the exporting volume actually grew from 4 tons in the early 20s to 216 tons in the late 20s. So we got a serious popularity boost here as people started to use it and see. Now, I talked about medical uses. So you're probably asking yourself, what? Well, it's mainly used to help with bronchial asthma, as you've seen with clenbuterol as well. So what it does is it can help to reduce swelling, constricting blood vessels in the nasal passages, and then basically it'll widen your lung airways. And it also allows a patient to start breathing easier. Now, another medical use for ephedrine is to treat anesthesia-related hypotension, which is low blood pressure. So, ephedrine basically enhances the release of norepinephrine. So, this process is pretty similar to the natural release of adrenaline by the body. Now, when taken, ephedrine is going to actually increase the activity of your CNS, which is your central nervous system, and it stimulates other cells, which then aid in fat loss by increasing your metabolism. Now, let's talk about a little bit of bodybuilding use. So, weightlifters use ephedrine because of its ability to increase the force of skeletal muscle contractions. Now, in addition to this, it can give you an edge, all right, because it helps you to focus better during your training sessions and your meets or whatever. So since it boosts metabolism, it can act as a thermogenic stimulant. Now, the metabolic rate will have an exponential increase when ephedrine is stacked with caffeine. And I'm going to do another video on the ECA stack, so you're going to definitely want to watch that. But I wanted to break down ephedrine first separately. All right. Now, appetite suppression. Ephedrine can kill your appetite because it basically slows your gastric emptying. Now, let's talk a little bit about recreational abuse. When ephedrine was really easy to access, it was abused by so many high school, college students. They were using ephedrine to help them study, and it was used as a precursor to manufacture meth. All right, not good. Not good at all. And if you think back, now I remember it was like year 2000, 2001, it was huge ephedrine craze. Everywhere, ephedrine, everybody using it. But a lot of people were getting hurt and killed, if you think back. I remember like Xenadrin, for example, the original formula was pretty bad, okay? Like good bad, you know what I mean? It worked, but it was bad in terms of, wow, man, this thing has me wired, not feeling so good, not that kind of wired. I remember taking it when I was 18, not really having a clue what I was doing. And I didn't last long taking it, okay? It was not regulated by the FDA at the time. You didn't really know what you were getting in each pill. So theoretically, some pills could be loaded with it and some could have none. So when you're taking 2 or 3 capsules, you might be taking a ton at once and not even realize it, far more than you expected. And even that is just dangerous, okay, to be overloading on it and to not really understand what you're doing or using. That's why it didn't last. So there's been a lot of confusion about its legality that, you know, many developed nations have some sort of restrictions on it. In 2004, the FDA actually banned ephedrine sales for anything other than asthma, colds, and traditional Asian medical use. Now, if you think back, George Bush signed the what was called the Combat Methamphetamine Epidemic Act. And this was back in 2005. Now, according to this, merchants who sell the products containing ephedrine must verify and keep records of customers that are purchasing their products. So the act restricted the sale to behind the counter only, and it actually limited the amount of ephedrine containing products to be sold per month. So you can get mahuang tea, which contains ephedrine, and that's still legal in the United States, but even in natural form, it can't be sold for dietary reasons. So it's banned in most major college and professional sports, NFL, NCAA, Major League Baseball, PGA. But, you know, if you want to get, the closest thing you can get to it is going to Walmart, for example, and asking for Broncaid behind the counter. You'll have to show them your ID, fill out the form. So obviously you're not going to be able to abuse this. You're going to be in the system. So if you're running an ECA stack, for example, yeah, you could go do it and run your stack and be fine. But if you're trying to abuse it, good luck. You're going to have to get it black market. And don't ask me about that. I'm just telling you the facts. The half-life of ephedrine is about 3 to 6 hours, right around there. So if you want to have the drug in your system the entire day, you should take it 2 to 3 times a day. Now, let's talk about the dosing, all right? For training purposes, it's recommended to cycle it for a few weeks, 25 to 50 milligrams per dose, then off for a couple weeks. You should note that ephedrine should not be abused, okay? Because the results could diminish as well with excessive use over time, desensitizing you, etc. Now, just really quickly, the ECA stack. It's popular in bodybuilding, used as an appetite suppressor and a fat burner. I'm going to do a full video on this. The E stands for ephedrine, all right? Obviously, 25 to 50 milligrams. The C stands for caffeine, 200 to 300 milligrams. And the A stands for aspirin at 100 milligrams. So among other factors, the precise dosage will basically depend on your body weight. But we're going to get into that in the entire other video, like I said. For non-athletes, all right, when used for the original purpose, the treatment for asthma, here's the dose. Orally, up to 150 milligrams daily in split doses. Injectable, 25 to 50 milligrams every 3 to 4 hours. And IV, up to 150 milligrams daily in split doses. Now, side effects are common when this is abused, all right? And they start occurring, you should lower the dose or your frequency of use or just stop altogether. And you should talk to a doctor really before using it, all right? So it's just frequently seen things. Heart issues, things like hypertension, sweating, flushing, stomach problems, nausea, things of that nature, difficulty urinating, insomnia, confusion, restlessness, agitation, dry mouth, headache, dizziness. So just be aware there are side effects here, several. But, you know, if used properly, it can be very effective. There's no doubt about the effectiveness. It's just the longevity of the use, the possible long-term side effects, that variant from person to person depending upon how you use it. Just be careful. If you're going to use it, just be careful. I don't absolutely hate ephedrine, all right? I don't love it. I don't hate it. Just kind of in the middle. This is not a Dylan Gemelli opinion video, but, you know, I see a lot of benefits there. I see a lot of concern there. So it's one of those things where I'm like, just be extremely cautious. I won't just flat out outright go, don't use it like I do with clenbuterol. But just be careful. Dylan Gemelli, signing off.